Security alert and hazmat response at Maryland's Joint Base Andrews Thursday after a woman opened a suspicious package. Several people reported headaches, but officials say today no white powder found at Joint Base Andrews. I'm Therese Crowley. This is Fox News.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Your 710 KURB, AccuWeather forecast. Very warm with plenty of sun today. Highs in the low to mid 90s. Tonight under clear skies. Lows in the 60s to near 70. Still very warm Saturday. Will approach the record with plenty of sunshine. Highs in the mid 90s. Clouds and sun. A shower in spots Sunday. It'll be breezy and not as warm. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Some clouds and some sunshine Monday. Breezy in the morning. A beautiful afternoon. A high of 70. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURB.
Some people say you can't spell destination without destiny. Truth is, a destination doesn't need a why, it needs a when, and that when is now. McAllen flies nonstop to destination.
Of domestic violence, victims of child abuse. This gathering that has been taking place this is the third day, by the way. It's the Forensic Sciences Gathering, 22nd Annual Seminar. Acknowledgement to the good folks over at Valley Baptist Health System, Driscoll Children's Hospital here in the Valley, Blue Sunday Ministries as well. And for the past 3 days, and we've got lawyers and judges and law enforcement and nurses and doctors gathering. Yes, it's a continuing education seminar, but oh my goodness, some of the weighty issue that they're dealing with. I'm going to start the program since we got so much to talk about, and I got nothing to teach you, but my guests do. So come up to the microphone, Robert. Robert Vela, my first guest on the program here. This day 3, we're calling it they call it the Faith Summit, because I know we've got some folks in Christian ministry that are also learning how to address the issue of domestic violence and child abuse as well. Robert, welcome to the program. So tell folks a little bit about you, how you pay the bills, and how you participating in the seminar.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My name's Robert Vela. I'm the Regional Director for Special Investigations. I cover Regions 8 and 11, which covers 47 counties, basically from New Braunfels and Comal County, everything east and west and south to the border. I have 5 special investigations program directors who each supervise anywhere from 8 to 11 special investigators.
Okay.
And the special
which agency? I'm sorry.
Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Okay, well, Protective Services, right.
And they're branched out throughout that coverage area that I just mentioned. The special investigators are responsible for child deaths, serious child injuries, trafficking cases. When we have children in conservatorship that run from our care, their primary duty is to go out there and find these kids immediately and get them back into care. There's other things that we work, school investigations, when there's alleged abuse, neglect on children through educators or anybody in the school system. They also work those. So there's another whole handful of cases that they work secondary. Those were just the primary cases that I mentioned. But that's a little bit about me. I've been with the department almost 20 years. I started my law enforcement career with Edinburgh Police Department.
Okay.
And legislature put this job
So
in
you
place.
started with Edinburgh PD,
Yes, sir.
and at some point you did the pivot over to child protective, adult protective
Yes, sir.
services 20 years ago. Like,
So
why?
it-
Why? Did you see something?
Well,
They said,
because
I got-
the legislatures wanted a position created for the department that had criminal background
okay.
investigations experience. So that just had an interest. It's funny because I'm the only one out of four brothers, including myself, that went the other route from education. My whole family was education. My father was a football coach. My mom was a lifelong educator that retired after about 35 years. And now all my brothers, they went that way, and I was the only one that went the other way. But now I'm still working with kids. So in some sort, it just all came together.
Was that like from the beginning? Like you went the law enforcement route, they went
Correct.
the education route,
Correct.
and now here we are still accessing, dealing with cases related to kids, whether in school or home.
Yes, sir.
I gotta say, I suspect you've seen a lot of really bad things related to kids through the years. Got one thing, like, how did you manage not? I don't think I could do what you do, or other folks who are counselors or case workers encountering this.
It was tough. I'm not going to lie. That going from criminal investigations and doing police work to now children, young children who don't have a voice. It was tough making that transition. But what got me through it was what I need to do is get justice for this child. So that's what gave me that driving edge to continue to do what I do.
In this 3-day seminar where we have all these folks who are in medicine and law enforcement and the judicial system, all this training that they're receiving on these very heavy issues, child abuse, domestic violence. Have you spoken several times, or today's the day that you speak, or like what are you sharing with them?
I was actually supposed to speak, but I asked one of my program directors to do it.
Okay.
Originally, it was supposed to be Alex Davidson, who was one of our training guys he lives in Paris, Texas. So he was going to come down and do that, but he left the agency, and it just got pushed down.
Well, today being the Faith Summit, where you have some people that have churches or they volunteer, or like, what would be the message to them from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, this conference is not only to bring awareness, but to network. And if you know who to call, if you know what to do, just pick up the phone and make that call.
What a great point. That's true. Because 200 people here
Yes,
who are either in the judicial branch or law enforcement or prosecution or medicine or counseling, and all these phone numbers. Oh my goodness. Pastor, you guys are lay workers. You should be here today. They're talking to like noon time today,
Yes, sir.
right? You
Yes,
can
sir.
come and network and be a part of it next year. Every year. This is the 22nd year that we have this. And of course, the last day is faith-based.
Yes, sir.
My guest right now, Robert Vela.
Yes, sir.
What is the specific title, Robert, at CPS?
I'm a regional director for special investigations.
Okay. Oh, you're on the special investigations unit.
Yes,
on
sir.
that one. The message for people who are chomping at the bit, they want to do something. Be more involved, take the resources, limited resources that they have, and properly use them to address the need that may come through their door at that church. So what's the message to them?
You see something, say something. You hear something, call it in. Don't let that child possibly go. Here's my thing, Sergio, is that one outcry you get may be the only outcry that child ever makes. And it's dependent on that person that they're outcrying to make the call, because that may be the one and only time that they're willing to do it. And if we don't act on it, they may never do it again.
Could be some kid sitting in your little kids class or Sunday class. Something like that. Okay. Now I got to ask you this, because it came up in a previous conversation I recorded. Sometimes the first call should not be, I found this surprising, but sometimes it should not be to police, for example, domestic violence. with a woman. It's mostly it's a woman, 75-80% of the time. Sometimes you need to use proper judgment because it might not be the time. In other words, you might scare the woman away in that case, or any victim away. Would you say the same? Because if they see flashing lights, sheriff's office or something like that? No, I came here to be rescued and take it in. You know what I mean? It's a very delicate situation sometimes.
Right. So my advice would be, if it's an emergency, call 911.
Yeah.
That's the first thing
especially with kids.
Especially with kids.
A kid is being abused.
Absolutely.
You got to call it in. Legally.
Mandated reporters.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You have to call it in.
So that's the route I would take, is call 911. We work very, very well with law enforcement, that they will immediately call us. A lot of the detectives and the chiefs of DPS have my number, that they'll call me and we'll get somebody immediately respond out there. And our approach is different. Our approach isn't kick in doors, take people to jail. We actually get down on the floor to talk to kids. So it's a rewiring of sorts, but we need to get comfortable in the child's eyes.
He's part of the Special Investigations Unit, Child Protective Services. Robert Vela, my guest. We got about 200 people participating. Yes, they're getting educated, folks on the front lines of law enforcement, social work, some attorneys, nurses, doctors, and people in ministry today. We got some people in Christian ministry here today learning as well. It's the 22nd annual seminar, Forensic Sciences. Today is the Faith Summit, specifically to try to teach as many folks in Christian ministry how to address this issue when it comes through the doors. And I would hope and pray that more of us, more of you, are able to train your paid staff, especially if you're on salary, getting a salary at the church, your paid staff, to address this. It may come through your doors, and you got to do it right. You got to do it right the first time, many times. Robert Vela has 20 years of experience at CPS. Was there ever a time you wanted to quit?
Oh, there's been plenty.
And I'm not asking because of pay or workout. I'm talking. You just saw something. No, I'm out here.
Right. There was several cases that were overwhelming, and they would affect me. But again, just the perseverance and trying to get justice for those children.
Do you get counseling for that after you witness?
The state offers, every state employee here has counseling that's available to them for free. All of our unfortunate children who pass away, we have staffings, and we tell our staff, you have counseling available to you if you need to talk to somebody about this, because everybody deals with it different. And the counseling out there is real, and it's free. I've made calls before. We also have peer support. That you're feeling some sort of way, you call a number and somebody will be calling you.
If you had a chance, let's say the state legislature or the governor give you a magic wand. Here you go, Robert. Wave it twice. Fix it. The foster care system that could use, Lord knows how much more in resources and staffing, policing the people that are in the system that are foster parents, background checks, all that. What would you do to perfect the foster care system in the state that is supposed to protect children?
That one would first go to more foster parents locally. A lot of our kids are having to go to Houston, sometimes out of state, because we don't have foster parents. So that would be my first wish.
How many more do we need?
Oh, goodness.
Twice as much, 3 times as much? What
it would be nice to have twice as much. It'd be beautiful to have 3 times as many. So Sergio, we want to keep the kids where they're from, right? The Rio Grande Valley, San Antonio, wherever it may be. Our first attempt, and we try our best, is to place with kinship, with family. Keep them together in the family. Sometimes, unfortunately, that's not possible, but that's what we want to do, is kinship placement.
How long does it take to be trained, to be vetted, to be a foster family?
I don't have the answer for that, but I'm sure I can go into that room with all the people in there and find out real quick for you.
Okay. But it is a process.
It is, yes.
And it's rigorous. Like, why don't we have more? Is it because it's too rigorous? Or, I know the answer to this because I've looked into this. Emotionally, I don't think I could take it to be attached to a child. And I've seen anecdotally through my family, a West Texas family, my dad-in-law has a church, and he had some members that took in some little kids. I remember this was like from 20 some odd years ago. I think it might have been this kid that comes to mind, little Willie. Cutest little dude. He was one of the cutest kids I've ever seen. Pelon. I guess he had piojos, right? So they shaved his head. He had a little bit like a little baby bird, buzzy hair. Might have been like 3-4 years old. Just the cutest kid. I never forgot him. But I think he's the one that when they had to take him back home to a bad situation, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. It's just I remember the foster family devastated. The foster dad obliterated emotionally. The guy I don't know how long that man cried. And I think that's, for me, I don't know, maybe when we retire, we can do that, Lord willing, but that's an emotional toll I don't think is surmountable by too many people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. But I think that's part of what the training does is teaches the potential foster parents how to be able to be okay with it, knowing that kids are going to be coming in and out of your home. Because if they wanted, they could actually become adopted parents, which is another process.
Robert Vela with CPS, he's with the Special Investigations Unit with Child Protective Services, which begs the next question. Do we need to change Texas law to make it easier for bums and just bad people who have children, make it easier to remove these children from them and put them into an adoption path? Because I've heard, and I'm not familiar with where Texas stands, but I don't know, you take a child in, the biological parent, whether it's a drug runner or drug user or criminal, whatever, man, they really need to screw up bad for the court to clip it, Do we need to make those laws stronger to protect these kids and allow them a better chance at life and remove those bad people from their lives?
I don't know very many cases where they denied our removals when we go in and deem that the kid or children need to be removed. So I think what we have in place is working.
Okay.
It's just about what I said earlier, reporting. If we don't know, we can't do anything about it. So the message today is if you see something, call in a report to our hotline. It's as simple as that. And I can promise you that your name and information as a reporter is confidential. It will not be released. We no longer take anonymous callers. That was passed into law.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know anecdotally of one situation where it was a child with another child who had a child, like young. We're talking about a parent, a slothful parent that did not do that person's job as a parent to oversee, just completely irresponsible. I was warned by an attorney, family friend of ours, who was on the front lines of dealing with cases like this. Don't call. They will not take an anonymous call. They will not start the investigation. They will not go through the school. They will not look at any of this. And we want the baby, because there is another parent that is willing to care for the kids. Just let the family take care first before you involve a foster family or CPS. I gave you as many details as I could anecdotally, but what do you think of that situation? Because it was the anonymous system that initially may have been tried, but it wasn't. Things turned out better for the baby right now and for the other kids as well, if I could add. Anyway.
I just want to reiterate that it's 100% confidential. And you can do it online also. You do have to create an account and provide an email address. But the call is important. It really is. And that number, just so you have it, is 1-800-252-5400. Again, 1-800-252-5400.
You mentioned more foster parents. I would think more caseworkers, which means more budget from the state. I have not heard in a regular special session, 2 special sessions, and if you roll the clock back 2 years prior to that, I didn't hear much before that, more 2 years. I have not heard through the years a true prioritization or emphasis by the state lawmakers to address the issue of proper funding for caseworkers and foster, all that stuff. I haven't heard that. So I'm thinking caseworkers and budget would be.
Caseworkers would be great. More special investigators would be great.
I didn't even think of that.
Yes, sir.
Oof, what's your workload, or what is the workload for an investigator?
So they just started putting numbers together for us, because we were historically, we're working a lot of secondary cases. Now that we're getting primary cases, it's anywhere from, the average daily caseload is anywhere from 11 to 13, wherever you look across the state, 11 to 13 cases.
For an investigator?
That's a special investigator. For a caseworker, I think the average is about 7 to 9 for the average
daily.
The caseworker
daily,
no, not daily. That's the amount
the
of
volume
intakes.
That's
the average that they have on their caseload.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's. Do they ever take a file? Okay, solved. But when does that happen? When the child gets adopted, or what?
When we come up with a case disposition. So sometimes it can be ruled out. There wasn't enough information to substantiate the allegation of neglectful supervision or physical abuse or sexual abuse. So once we come up with that, the caseworker will staff with their supervisor, and they'll disposition the case, whatever disposition it is, and then it'll get closed.
With CPS, part of the Special Investigation Unit, he's Regional Director Robert Vela with CPS. Going back to what I mentioned earlier, when you do make a call and there's genuine concern of abuse of the child, some people don't want to get involved, and you said it. It is a confidential call. You cannot anonymously leave a message, but you do speak with somebody, I guess, intake through a phone conversation, something like that.
Correct.
It is anonymous. Some people don't want to say anything because they don't want it, boomerang back to them. Oh, I know it was mi tia, or I know it was my boss, or something like that. They don't want the grief.
Right.
And the retribution that sometimes is involved with something like that. So it is anonymous.
Yes.
Guaranteed. Absolutely.
And I also want the public and those listening to know that there's this belief that if CPS gets involved, they're going to take your kids. And that is farthest from the truth. That's the last thing we want to do. So I just wanted to put that out there. We can help. We can get you resources. We can get what the family needs. But the call has to be made.
10-4. Okay, Robert. Again, just final message. Since today is the Faith Summit at this forensic seminar, a final message to a pastor or a volunteer or maybe on the staff, like, where do we go from here? Because they've been thinking about doing something.
Love your kids, love your family, hug them every day, tell them that you love them, because life is short, and make that call. It's always better to make the call than to not.
Is your office or anyone, a branch in CPS, a good starting point for a pastor or a deacon? Say, you know what, we're going to start an office, a branch. We're going to take a nurse who's in our congregation, and this person will be on point to get the training to be able to address the need if it's in our pews. Like, is your office or somebody associated with you a starting point?
They can call the office and talk to somebody, and we can get them to the person that they need to talk to.
Yeah.
But all the reports you'd mentioned, an intake, all reports go to Austin. I mean, it's the 1-800 number it all goes to Austin to be tracked, and then they'll branch out the calls to the jurisdiction that they need to go.
Child Protective Services has a faith office. And the reason I am here today is Cornelia Garza, Blue Sunday as well, Miss Lucky. And Cornelia has shared her number on air plenty times on KURV. I'm going to give you her number. She works with ministries and churches who help with a care portal, churches that provide cribs and diapers, or maybe a hotel stay in an emergency. Yeah, let's be a part of that care portal. Cornelia Garza with CPS, the Faith Office, trying to connect your ministry to provide for the need. 361 816 4053. 361 816 4053. Go back and rewind on the video recording for later. Anything else you want to share with folks?
No.
Man, thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir.
And being open about how it is, what it is, and hopefully we get some more people.
Yes, sir.
To help out.
Good meeting you.
Robert Vela, Regional Director, Special Investigations, Child Protective Services. This is the Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. There are three reasons that we are here today, and among them is Atlas AC Refrigeration and Plumbing. A big thank you to other supporters that I will mention later in the program as well that help the entire team get out here and participate in today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us on News Talk 710 KURV. I need to send it back to Freddie, HQ in Mission. Got to pay our bills for today. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. We're participating in this Faith Summit, part of the 22nd annual seminar, Forensic Sciences, and addressing best we can, trying to inform the community how we deal with child abuse, prevention, investigations, domestic violence issues as well. Thank you for joining us on 710 KURV. Thank you to the gang at Chamberlain Roofing Waterproofing as well for making talk radio possible in the Valley. Check out news up next.
Tune in Saturday afternoon as your fighting Texas Aggies visit the Missouri Tigers. Coverage begins at 1:30 on News Talk.
For many years now, I've been very proud to represent a dear friend of mine, Dale Johnson, top commercial roofer.
The FAA worried about safety in the skies during the shutdown, ordering airlines to cut hundreds of flights. Fox's Grady Trimble at Reagan National.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy arrived. He's going through to the other side of security, and he's going to tell passengers, we're sorry that this is happening. We hope that everything's going to be okay with your flights. And if you have a problem with this, you should call Democrats and tell them to vote to end this shutdown.
Now, Secretary Duffy telling Fox the airlines are great partners, but they're losing millions of dollars every day during the shutdown. Vote expected in the Senate that could potentially fund the government. It would feature a short-term extension until January. No white powder found in a suspicious package at Joint Base Andrews. No service members are sick. That from U.S. officials. JBA is home to Air Force One. The president expected to travel to Palm Beach later today. America's listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. Plenty of sun today. Quite warm with highs in the low to mid 90s. Clear tonight. Lows will be in the 60s to near 70. Very warm again Saturday with plenty of sun. Highs in the mid 90s. Clouds and sun with a shower in spots Sunday. Breezy, not as warm. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Some clouds, then sun. A breezy day Monday, but beautiful in the afternoon with the high right near 70. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV.
Okay, we'll do it during the interview. Can I eat it? No? You know, I'm always thinking for Janet McGee joining me saying, I got something for Serge. Great. Is it like pan dulce or something like that? Okay. Welcome back to the program. Time is 9:36, the Sergio Show at News Talk 710 KURV. And we are very honored to be part of the Faith Summit, day 3 of this Forensic Science 22nd Annual Seminar. Got a lot of folks in the legal profession and counseling and folks in medicine, very weighty issues, investigation into domestic violence, child abuse, all those things. And I'm so glad that some folks in ministry, Christian ministry, are here on this Faith Summit Day, day 3 of this Forensic Sciences seminar, continuing education for a lot of folks on the front lines dealing with the scourge of domestic violence and child abuse and other related issues. Again, today is for ministers, Christian ministers and churches. You tuning in on your way to a golf game, I'm kind of ribbing you right now. Be a part of it. This happens every year, and I hope that you can reach out to some of the resources. If you missed any of the conversations, go back and 710 KURV YouTube, 710 KURV X, Facebook, all the videos are there. Go back and rewind and get some of the phone numbers, addresses, emails of these folks so you can contact to start a branch at your church, at your ministry. As I've said forever and a day, and all these years that the Lord has allowed me to speak at KURV, there's no reason why in Hidalgo County, where we have 1 million people, that the Salvation Army should be the only family shelter in the area. There's no reason for that. And the next time you guys have a sit down with your board at your church to talk about $1 million audiovisual system for next year, upkeep, maybe bring on board some people that really should be using resources for something else. Let's try to meet the need first, shall we? The orphan, the widow, the hungry, the naked, all those things that we've been called by Christ to serve and to address, not the state, not the government that is shut down right now, can't even provide food. My goodness. All right. Off the soapbox, Serge, off the soapbox. I want to say thank you because it's quite the undertaking. I got Eric and Flaquito, everybody around here. Freddie's around here running around. Thank you to the folks that make this possible today, among them Blue Sunday Ministries. This broadcast, Hilton Garden Inn, thank you, Mayor Patel, Hilton Garden Inn here at South Padre. Iron Sharpens Iron Ministries. Jack, I love you, brother. Jack Ewing, CPA. And of course, I mentioned Sister Sarah at Atlas AC Refrigeration and Plumbing. It takes a lot of work to do this. Janet McGee, I've interviewed her through the years. Come up to the microphone, Janet. I've interviewed her through the years, Blue Sunday Ministries. And for folks who are working for a living and are not familiar with Blue Sunday Ministries, what is it and how did you receive the call to get this started?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for everything that you do to open doors for ministries that are trying to make a difference, and especially reaching out to the Rio Grande Valley. And you are definitely one of our champions. And so before I start talking about us, I'd like to talk about you. Sergio, thank you for planting seeds of hope in the driest of places, foster children's hearts. You'll never know this side of heaven all the lives you have helped. Your friend and biggest fan, Janet McGee, and Blue Sunday Child Abuse Prevention. You know, you'd have us come on and we would talk about an upcoming event Maybe it was a Christmas party, or maybe it was some kind of drive for backpacks or back to school, or zoo trips for foster children. Or I mean, those may sound frivolous because that's everyone else's norm, but that's not the norm for these kids to be able to have and know they were going to be taken care of in special ways that we take for granted. And so I know that you've opened doors, and I want you to know that churches in the Valley have opened their hearts and have stepped up, and a big part of that is because of your efforts. And so we've adopted the bluebonnet because the bluebonnets will grow in the worst of conditions. And if ever there was a plant that represents the hearts of these children, and they're resilient if they have the right ingredients that they need at the right time. And Sergio, you've helped us to provide that to them, along with a million other wonderful agencies here in the Valley. We really do appreciate you. So you hang that in your office and think of us.
I will cherish. Yes. I'm sorry, it's the low T that kicks in, there's a lot more that needs to be done. May the Lord give us life and strength and wisdom to take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how did you receive the call? Again, Blue Sunday, you guys may have gone to church and heard about it towards the beginning of the year. Every year we're praying for the victims of child abuse. Blue Sunday, what is it? How did you get it started?
Well, Blue Sunday is it started out as a day of prayer for abused children, and it began right here in South Texas. I was a children's director of a large church, and raised my family to serve the Lord. And we had one of our daughters who became an addict regardless. And it was through rescuing her. We were really brought to our knees about what's going on in the community for children and the great impact of abused children and foster kids because of parents with substance abuse issues. And it was through that process of rescuing her that we realized a much bigger picture. We were sitting in court one time, and we listened to, you have to go to court when there's a CPS case because of addictions. You go to court. And so we had gone and to support our grandkids to make sure that they didn't end up in foster care. And while we were there, like 8 little kids came in. They had not seen each other in 3 months. They're all hanging on each other, the big ones, and the oldest one couldn't have been 12, and they're all kissing and hugging. And so my husband and I, we both have been in children's ministry, almost all our adult life. And the judge asked, have these kids seen each other? And they had about 5 different CPS caseworkers because there were so many of them. And they said, no, sir, we couldn't find a place that would let them all come together. No one foster mom would say, yeah, bring me 7 more kids, And my husband leaned over and he said, we can do something about that. And that's where it dawned on us. Everything we had, all the years of serving God's people, their children, the Lord just had us aim that in the direction of abused children and children who receive services from CPS. And so right off the bat, we hosted events where these kids can come and have happier memories together, like going to the zoo, having a Christmas party and getting to see each other. We had no idea what all the needs were. And we were very overwhelmed. And so it was clear that we needed prayer. And so we asked our church to pray. And the next year we asked a few other churches. And so it started with 20 churches. We now have like over 7 million people around the nation who on the last Sunday in April will pray for abused children and for those who rescue them. Supporting Child Protective Services should be right up there with missionaries because they are missionaries.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we feel like not just supporting the kids, but also supporting those who serve them. There are so many people sitting in church every Sunday wishing they knew what to do with their life. Well, I can tell you what the Bible says. He says, whatever you do to the least of these, you've done it unto me. And I never understood that principle until I heard a story once from about Chariots of Fire when the guy who would run, and they say, why do you run? And he goes, well, when I'm through, I feel the pleasure of God. And I never could put a finger on it, but the joy I got out of serving these kids, even though my own grandchildren are going through hell, and we're a part of be in the process of that rescuing, we were able to take what I feel like was meant to kill us and turn around and use it for good. And our grandchildren all survived and are doing well. And but there's a whole boatload of churches now who have stepped up, heard the call to pray, and now they put feet to the prayers.
Lord's mercy. He is faithful, and he took care of your babies.
He did.
But I don't think, obviously, you and I wouldn't be talking right now. As you mentioned, your babies went through hell. Your daughter went through a living hell, poisoned and addicted, enslaved by these chemicals. We wouldn't be talking right now. The Lord knows. The Lord knows what the devil, what the enemy meant for evil, he will use it for good. Thank you, Jesus. And he saw in your heart and your husband, said, you'll need to go through this season. Because had it not been for your daughter going through that hellish experience and grandbabies, there would be no Blue Sunday today. There would be no Blue Sunday. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. You're merciful. And you're a wise Lord. Oh, my goodness. You are participating in this faith summit and sharing with the attorneys and nurses and doctors, and hopefully more churches and ministers that are hoping to learn how they can meet the needs. So have you spoken already, or are you going to speak here pretty soon with them?
No,
You're not?
No, I'm here for you.
Okay. Okay.
No, we have a new director, and she's leading the show for Blue Sunday, and I am retired. But yes, I am retired. But my heart and my vision is still clearly.
May I add, we
focused on
spoke with
these kids.
Kristen Lucky the other day. Kristen is leading the charge on Blue Sunday. She was in the studio. That interview is a part of our inventory here there at KURV social media. We'll look forward to speaking with Kristen plenty in the near future. Being here, I know you have a table and engaging with these folks. What do you want them to know about Blue Sunday and how they, either as professionals in medicine or legal profession or churches, how do they get involved? How can they help?
Well, the simplest thing would be is to look at the booths that are here, grab a card, and take it back to your own church, because that's our target audience. Of course, we need companies and businesses and professional people to come along and help support that. And some of them even go ahead and can host events. We want to show them the way they can work alongside CPS. CPS and the faith community were not together for many, many years, only out of the faith community's ignorance that the doors were wide open. And so our message is still, the doors are open. They're waiting for you to step through and offer services, offer finances. State of Texas can't take your money, but they can sure take your all the tennis shoes you can buy. There's no one who cannot serve foster children. No one. They just need to know how simple it is. And if they go to the Blue Sunday webpage, they can get connected. They can get ideas of what they can. And the doors are open. Join us.
It takes a special person to be. I heard this many years ago when my dad was through ICU and several operations. And I see all these people. It was a Houston Medical Center. All these nurses with such gushing, loving hearts, treating my dad like a little baby, because my dad was shorter than I. He was a short dude, real powerful dude though. And it takes a special heart, a tender, loving person to care for the wounds of another human being. Despite bodily fluids and all that stuff, it just takes that type of person. So from the nurses and doctors, folks in the legal profession who want to affect the change, they enter the legal profession or law enforcement because they want to make a difference and they want to protect our community. So, and all of them, all these almost 200 people here, I'm sure the overwhelming majority, they've got a church to go to. Message to them as well. Make sure to communicate with pastor, with the volunteers. Maybe that person or a fellow nurse could be the point person at that church that would be the first line of defense.
That's good.
For some of these victims.
At our church, if you thought of it, you felt like you were supposed to help. If you came to our pastor and said, "Hey, I think that we need to do XYZ," he'd say, "Well, you're in charge of XYZ."
Be ready for that response.
Yes.
That's fine.
And that's the way it should be, because if you're the one who's got the burden on your heart, then that just follows suit, that God's going to give you the grace to lead it, to take it. There's agencies. They can work with CASA. They can work with Children's Advocacy Centers. There's so many agencies, and they can get that information on our site. It's a little late to get to the South Padre Island and hook up with these people, but they're good enough to come here and be a part of this every year. And so I'm real grateful for that.
Lord willing, there will be another event. This is the 22nd Annual Forensic Science Seminar, 3-day continuing education for folks in medicine, legal profession, the folks on the front lines addressing very weighty issues, which is child abuse and domestic violence and other investigations related to all of this. Today is the Faith Summit. The focus is to, yes, all these people who go to church, well, tell the attorney, tell the nurse, take it back to your church. See if we can connect and open up more doors with them. And also we got some folks in Christian ministry. You missed it this go around. There's plenty of videos on 710 KURV, YouTube, Facebook, X, that you can always call Blue Sunday. And you can always, I gave you Cornelia Garza's personal number. Good. You can call her. Let's talk about the portal real quick. You've made many visits to KURV through the years, talking about the Care Portal, CPS, their faith office, asking more churches be a part of it. We need, I don't know, we got a family, we got some kids, they all need to, maybe you don't have a shelter at your church. Fine, put them up in a hotel for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever. Let's take step by step, make the effort to protect them so they're not sleeping in the van and they're going to be all separate. No, let's put them in a hotel, budget for that. Buy diapers, buy a crib. You know, we're going to take the baby away and there's a crib. Well, let's buy a crib. You know, the Care Portal is for that. So
it's so folks, simple to use. And forgive me for not mentioning it. I see my friend Mark over here who's dedicated his life to Care Portal. Care Portal is the simplest, and it's on our, and they're included in our list of
excellent
ways to get started. Yeah. But there's not much I can say about how easy it is to connect, because it is just a car seat. Sometimes it's literally just a car seat. It could just literally be maybe you need to pay for their daycare so mama doesn't leave the kids with the older child just for a month, you know, they just need that little extra. And the great thing about Care Portal that I love, and they'll do this for any church, they're going to vet, no matter what you do for these children. You go work with your faith-based initiative coordinator. Of course, for us, that is Cornelia Garza here in the Valley. They vet who you're going to help. You're not throwing your money and your time and your effort down a rat hole. They vet it. They know this mama means business. This grandma just needs a little help. The goal is to keep as many children out of foster care as we can, because as great as foster care is for saving lives, that still increases what they call their ACE score, adverse childhood experiences. Because if you're not in with your family, you are going to be traumatized. I mean, I don't care how kind you are and generous you are. They're coming broken and without Christ.
I would imagine that's several scary nights for that kid not being with family. As abusive a situation might be, it's still traumatic. It's awful. The Care Portal allows churches an opportunity to meet an immediate need seen by a CPS caseworker, investigator, in order to keep the children safe, family safe, whatever it would be. Maybe hotel stay for a few days, maybe daycare for several days. Maybe, as Janet said, Janet McGee, founder of Blue Sunday Ministries, could be, like you said, it's car seat, crib, things like that. But you're not throwing your money, like you said, into a hole. You are part of it. You get to, what the state cannot do, the body of Christ can. That's bring them in, hug them, love them.
That's right.
Wipe their tears and tell them it's going to be okay. The family at your congregation coalesces and fights for this family that's truly in need. It becomes real, palpable, and you're able to pray with them, follow up with them. They become part of your family, your congregation. That is probably the most wonderful reality of this program, this Care Portal, that it brings a church in to engage, not just to write a check here, buy the crib. Let's go. We need to do some real ministry.
And that was started by a wonderful pastor, Bishop Blake. And if you haven't met him, please promise me you'll find him and you'll pursue him. He does come to the Valley occasionally, Bishop Blake. But it is a wonderful, the church just got together and thought, how can we do this? In your church, whoever's listening right now, your church, they fit a piece of the puzzle that no one had thought of. That means that there's lots of other pieces missing still, that churches get in there, get out. You might even want to ask your children's directors, your Sunday school teachers, hey, y'all pursue this, because they already have that at heart, and they already know how their church works. So there'll be a great filter of getting information that would suit and fit and be a good fit for your church. You may have to try several things, but Get your children's minister, get your children's workers, get your nursery workers. Talk to them.
Janet McGee, Blue Sunday Ministries, she's the founder, now retired. Kristen Lucky is now the director, and we look forward to speaking with her near future. Look, I brought a question I was going to ask of everybody. I know your work is through ministry and churches, but yes, working in tandem with Cornelia Gaza and the state and CPS, their faith office. The state of the CPS foster care system sure could use some improvement. And being on the front lines, any thoughts, opinions you'd like to share? I ask this of everybody because I have not heard a prioritization by the part of lawmakers in Texas to address this issue and improve it. Always good, improve it all the time. Any thoughts you want to share on what the state of Texas should do urgently, either staffing, funding, training, perfecting the vetting process, background checks? Any thoughts of what you would like to see? Money.
Right now, we have programs we've done for years, and we just recently we couldn't meet. It was one of our smaller programs because we have an array of programs that we built out of what we heard were just unique things that the kids would like to learn, like sewing. So we had a sew camp that we've been trying to have. They cut their funding. CPS's funding has been cut. So literally, we host that event, but CPS has to attend. And so that's something in addition to everything else they do. CPS is always yes. They will never tell you no. But they said, can we wait? Because I don't think I can get any more funding to be able to bring them. And I thought, that's a first. And so funding. How can we not give to the least of these and equip the people who are making a difference? The people that everything we do is important. But we've got to have the funds for the people who do the actual physical work, the people who are that's why when we say pray for the children and those who rescue them, because those who rescue them, I'm not in the trenches rescuing them. CPS is.
And something, just a sidebar, mention something for folks who are in the business of philanthropy. If budgets are being cut at the state level, and in 30 seconds, I hope I can squeeze this in. I was on a phone call yesterday with a dear friend in the front line, in the auto business, for example. The family is very well-to-do. They're tired of politics. They don't want to fund any more fundraisers.
I'm right. And you did mention that name on air.
Yeah, well, I will for you, so you can go, because they're focusing on Christian ministry, the cancer clinic for children, and the children's hospital. That's what they're focusing on. No more. They say, we're tired of politics. Okay, so God is giving you the resources. Steer them in the direction of ministries like Blue Sunday, and let's protect the most vulnerable among us. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you for stopping by.
Well,
Janet McGee, founder of Blue Sunday Ministries, the Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV. It's an honor for us to be participating on this Faith Summit Day of the 22nd Annual Seminar Forensic Sciences. Thank you so much to Hilton Garden Inn, South Padre. Thank you to Iron Sharpens Iron Ministries and Atlas AC Refrigeration and Plumbing for making this hour of the program possible. Back to HQ. See you hour number 2 of the Sergio Show on 710 KURV.
Tune in weekdays to hear the Brad Sham Dallas Cowboys Report.
Hi again, everyone. This is today's Dallas Cowboys Report. I'm Brad Sham.
Brad Sham, the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, will bring you a daily look inside the Dallas Cowboys with highlights, interviews,
reduction today, leading up to a 10% reduction next Friday across 40 high-traffic airports, including New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and here in Atlanta.
Now, all of this is putting more pressure on lawmakers to reopen the government. The Senate is expected to hold a test vote on a new plan today.
There is a new test vote today. Senate Republicans recalibrated their plan to end the shutdown. The bill would reopen the government temporarily and fund 3 other parts until next fall. But Democrats are divided and buckling down on health care. The bill would reopen the entire government through sometime in January, and it would also fund the Department of Agriculture.
Shares permanently. Today, I run away.
Their first meeting since Trump took office in January. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
And Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik says she is running for governor of New York. In a new ad released this morning, she says under Governor Hochul, New York is, quote, the most unaffordable state in the nation. Governor Hochul is facing a primary challenge next year from her lieutenant governor. I'm Gianna Gelosi. This is Fox News.
Picture this. You're halfway through a DIY car fix and boom, you're missing a part. It's okay because whatever it is, it's on eBay and it's guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. Plenty of sun today. Quite warm with highs in the low to mid 90s. Clear tonight. Lows will be in the 60s to near 70. Very warm again Saturday with plenty of sun. Highs in the mid 90s. Clouds and sun with a shower in spots Sunday. Breezy, not as warm. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Some clouds, then sun. A breezy day Monday, but beautiful in the afternoon with the high right near 70. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
The Black Friday sales event is all month long at South Texas Buick GMC. Drive home your Buick Encore GX for just $129 a month, or get behind the wheel of a GMC Sierra Pro for only $159 a month. GMC, we are professional grade, space, technology, and style. Visit SouthTexasGMC.com or call us at 956-661-5000. Take the Sherry Road exit between McAllen and Mission. South Texas Buick GMC. Not the biggest, just the best.
In Texas, we pride ourselves on standing tall. But sometimes, even the toughest folks need a hand. If you or someone you know is having a mental health crisis, call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or to chat, visit texas988.org. Trained counselors are available 24/7 to provide confidential support at no cost to you. With 988, you're not alone in the Lone Star State.
Digging, loading, transporting, or cleaning, Case G Series wheel loaders are built to run hard, not hot, day in and day out. With its impressive combination of features, including SCR engine technology, superior breakout force, unmatched fuel efficiency, best-in-class visibility, and state-of-the-art cab, the Case G Series is resetting the standard for overall productivity for the lowest total cost of operation. Visit ASCOEQ.com or stop by your local ASCO today.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. From the Radio United Broadcast Center, this is the Sergio Show. Talking about the news headlines and topics that affect you. And now, the Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us on the program. Hour 2 of the Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. And we're at the Grand Resort, part of the 22nd annual seminar, Forensic Sciences. Got a lot of folks on the front lines of first responders, also legal profession, nurses and doctors and counselors as well. The focus over this 3-day training session, yes, continuing education for many of these professions. Day 3, this Friday, has become through the years like a faith summit. In fact, it's called a faith summit. We got some folks in Christian ministry also learning what they should do, need to do to get their facilities ready, get maybe their staff trained. Could be a nurse in their congregation. It could be one of the attorneys or counselors participating here. They go to churches. Well, get your congregation, get your church ready to meet the need for victims of domestic violence and also victims of child abuse, as they are likely coming through your door all the time. You just don't know it. And you probably don't have the triggers or monitors to acknowledge that, or maybe, oh, God forbid, maybe you have seen it and you've turned away. You don't want the trouble. No, Senor, that is not the heart of Christ. So we invite you for next year to be a part of it. These folks, if you can make it, if you're within, like the shout here at Brownsville or Harlingen, I mean, you could still make it here and pass out your cell number, visit all the tables, get some of the literature here, and get your congregation involved. Be part of this faith summit and get your congregation involved to meet the need. Be a frontline ministry for victims of domestic violence and child abuse. My next guest, we should be playing some Bon Jovi, since his presentation is called Living on a Prayer. Faith-based organizations and family violence. Andrew Campbell joining me right now. Tell me about the organization or business that you were like. How do you pay? Come up to the microphone, brother. I appreciate
absolutely.
You being with us. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, again, my name is Andrew Campbell, and I'm the CEO of Campbell Research and Consulting, which is based in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. What do you achieve? What do you?
So I am a researcher and a public health educator. So I travel to conferences like this and provide education for multiple disciplines. So law enforcement, faith-based organizations, legal, child services, all different types of disciplines.
What are some of the more common themes, questions? Let's start with faith. Since this is the Faith Summit, churches, and you might some folks interested in like, what do I do? How do I start a shelter? Or what are the steps I need to take to protect the victim that comes to the doors?
So I a central theme in really all of my work is early hurt and harm. I focus a lot on childhood harm, abuse, harm that occurs in the home during childhood. And then I kind of work my way out from that, which is how I get involved with all different types of disciplines, because the reality is there are many kids out there hurting right now, and there are many adults out there who were kids at one point who are hurting and are still hurting now. So really any discipline, any area I've learned that operates or works with people, deals with people who are hurting, who have been hurt or affected by abuse.
Why did you get started in this ministry?
Well, I've always felt a lot of passion in this area. Early on in my career, I started at a children's hospital. I was helping with a child sexual abuse clinic. I sat on a child fatality review team. So looking at some really obviously negative, dark outcomes for children. And then again, just thinking about some of that hurt and harm and pain, and how can I use my career, the things and talents that I have to try to help those particular populations.
Children Fatality Review Team. I think you said it all as to why you started. What have you seen in your many years of ministry? Maybe success stories, something more happy to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I focus on the early hurt and harm, but the reality is even kids who have a bad start, it doesn't have to end bad. For some, help doesn't come, and we do see those bad endings. But I like conferences like this one because we can also share a message of hope. And we know that there are many like-minded professionals here who do care and are concerned about these issues and are doing all they can to help those who experience hurt and harm.
Goodness, there's so many congregations, so many so-called ministries in the area, so many churches, so many structures that dot this area. It's America, it's Texas as well. So let's put our faith to practice. You got some folks that are itching in the congregation, just chomping at the bit, wanting to do something. Where do they start?
So abuse, harm, all these things are complex issues. But the reality is while the full healing journey can be complex, it often starts simple. And what I've learned in terms of how it starts simple is that individuals who have experienced this harm, what they need most at the start is just one being to show them unconditional positive regard. They need someone to show them that they matter, that they have value, and that they have worth.
Thank goodness. This goes beyond hugging a kid or giving a kiss or giving them a meal. This goes way beyond that. There's some training, serious training that is, because I know they want to hug and kiss the kid, and some of these kids might not even want you to touch them. It's been so bad. So what all is involved? How can somebody be trained?
Well, like I said, again, it starts simple. It sounds like, well, that's just too simple of a solution. But individuals who survive these bad starts will tell you it wasn't really a huge thing that kept them going. It was just someone showing them that they mattered. And so even though it seems like, well, here's someone who's experienced all this harm, surely not just going out of my way to ask them how they're doing and to check in on them. Surely that doesn't make a difference, but it absolutely does. Again, they're going to need more help down the road. The healing process is a long journey. It's a long process, but most people who survive and come out the other side tell you it started with having one person. In some cases, it's a pet, even a dog or a non-human animal that provides that love and comfort that they haven't gotten from other people, that at least helps them realize, you know what, maybe my entire life isn't going to be hard. Maybe it's not going to hurt the whole time because there's at least someone who shows me that I do have value, that I do have worth, and I do matter.
You have a website for your ministry?
I do, yep. CampbellResearchAndConsulting.com.
CampbellResearchAndConsulting.com. Andrew Campbell is participating on this Faith Summit, day 3 of this 3-day summit that's taking place at Isla Grande, the Forensic Science Summit, continuing education for doctors and nurses and folks in the legal profession, social workers, addressing very weighty issues. Yeah, it's child abuse, a prevention, investigation of that, domestic violence issues as well. I'm going to use you as an example again, because I know there's got to be a few people out there that want to take it to the next level. They might even on Sunday, this Sunday, be approaching their pastor, say, Pastor, we got to do something. And yes, to be available to give a hug and a kiss and maybe a meal, or, here's my little puppy, play with something, that's fine. But be prepared. If you really want to get in the thick of it, now that you've had all these years responding from the medical profession now to all this counseling work that you provide, be prepared to do what over the next several years? What type of training should you get to muscle up and be ready to provide help? Whether it's working with CASA, working with CPS, the Faith Portal, what do you see happening for them to make a difference, make a change?
Right, and so when I talk about the need to show that support, that's what I think is the central theme that I give to faith-based organizations as their role in the process. it just gets the ball rolling. Then obviously for these individuals to actually be able to heal, they need to be safe. You can't really heal from abuse while you're still being abused. So it starts by that kind word, but then it's also then involving law enforcement. It's involving child services. It's involving the proper agencies that can get that individual to safety.
You know what I hear from what you're saying? Be prepared to be a foster family. Be prepared to take them in and provide that bed, that safe environment. While, yes, working with investigators and everybody else, be prepared for that calling in your life to open up your home and provide that shelter for that kiddo.
There's a major need for that nationwide to have healthy foster parents as an option, certainly, and absolutely. Because the reality is for some kids, the only way to be safe is to be out of their childhood home. Unfortunately, it's just not safe.
Did you get a chance to speak to the group here already?
So yesterday or 2 days ago, I presented on school shooters. I'm in the middle of a study of school shooters right now, and then I present here in about an hour or so at the close of today's talk.
Okay, so what's the message for today?
Today I'm talking about family violence and faith-based organizations. So I'll be talking just similar in a longer version of what we just talked about here about providing support. I also will talk today about being aware of perpetrators will try to manipulate faith-based organizations. And so I talk about that angle of it as well.
Right. Andrew, it's a pleasure meeting you.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
Brother. Any guy named Andrew is a good guy. That was my best friend in high school, Andy. I named my son. Second name was Andy for my friend. God bless you, brother. Thanks for stopping by. Again, the website again for your ministry?
CampbellResearchandConsulting.com.
The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. Time is 10:17. We're broadcasting from Isla Grande, South Padre, day 3 of the Forensic Science 22nd Annual Seminar. Today's Faith Summit Day. If you're pretty close to South Padre, you get off the bridge, it's right here, Isla Grande. Stop by, visit all the tables, and pick up the flyers and the business cards and make your congregation, your church, part of the solution in South Texas. I want to say thank you to folks who make this broadcast possible here from the island. My brother, Jack Ewing, CPA. God bless you, Jack. Never say hi to him in an airport. Right? Hi, Jack. You can play that sad trombone music in the background, Freddie, if you want. Iron Sharpens Iron Ministries. And we'll talk about more of that ministry in the near future. Thank you to Sister Sarah over at Atlas AC Refrigeration and Plumbing. Thank you to former Mayor, South Padre, Mayor Patel. God bless you, brother. Hilton Garden Inn, South Padre Island. This is the Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV. Back to HQ. Let's pay some bills. We'll continue our conversations from this Faith Summit at the 22nd Annual Seminar Forensic Sciences at South Padre.
Andrew Monaco here, voice of your fighting Texas Aggies. Coming up right after Sergio, stay tuned for the Dana Lash Show starting at 11 on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Padre app.
Jay Gonzalez, the Valley's top lawyer with over 20 years of experience.
The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV, and I got to say it's a high honor to be with so many hardworking people on the front lines of medicine and counseling and law enforcement. I understand now this is the third day of their Faith Summit that they've been gathering here at the Isla Grande Resort on South Padre, and great turnout by folks who are participating in helping to address, prevent, investigate like really weighty issues. I know it's like heavy stuff for breakfast right now. It's child abuse and domestic violence. I have the pleasure to bring aboard to the program Mary Ann Alvarez Griffiths. She is with Driscoll Children's Hospital, and she is a child abuse pediatrician. She's a care bear, as we were joking off here. She's part of the care team. So what does that mean, Mary Ann? You're a care bear, part of the care team.
Yes, sir. I'm the intensive care bear. No, I'm
really?
just kidding.
Is that where you are?
No, I think I'm like the Funshine Bear.
Oh, okay, good.
But I got to take the quiz again after doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
So our care team at Driscoll Children's Hospital it's an acronym for our team name. So it stands for the Child Abuse Resource Evaluation Team.
Yeah.
So we evaluate children whenever there's a concern for any form of maltreatment. So there just has to be a concern for it. And then we examine the child to see, is this concern validated? Are we concerned for maltreatment, or is this something that's normal and okay?
How did you land on in this field? Is this what you set out to do?
No.
Man, I mean, look, it's child abuse.
It is.
And I don't know, honestly, for folks like you in medicine and counseling and even folks that respond from the state of Texas, I don't know how you do something like that. I don't think I could do it. But I know some of the things that you say. So how'd you wind up in this gig?
I was in my pediatric training in San Antonio, and my second month in training, we had a case where there was concern for abuse in a child. And I'm like, whoa, I've never dealt with this type of situation before. In medical school, I didn't really receive that much of information about it. But then we had this case, and we called up the child abuse pediatricians to consult on the case. And it was a Spanish-speaking family, and I stepped in with them since it was my patient. I provided translation services for them, and it was just interesting, the questions that they were asking and the whys. Why were they wanting to know all the information from the child's birth history to the family history? Why was this all important? And then they sat me down, and I was introduced to this multidisciplinary field. So I get to do more than just medicine, because I am a general pediatrician by trade.
Okay.
But then I also work with partners such as law enforcement, CPS, counselors, social workers, the DA's office. So I just loved that it was all encompassing, and that I can do more than just medicine, and that I can do what I feel is my calling, to do more good for children than if I'm just doing checkups and giving them their shots.
You're one of the participants in today's November 7th Faith Summit, which is the third day of gatherings by other folks on the front lines of law enforcement, medicine, and CPS, things like that, right? You participate. You also.
Yes, I was one of the speakers and one of the moderators for this conference and within the last 2 days.
What did you share with these folks? And who is in, there's like 180, 200 people in that big ballroom area.
Yeah.
So who's here right now?
We got people from CPS, law enforcement, med students, criminal justice students, nursing students, nurses, sane nurses, CPS, law enforcement, people from, there are attorneys, there are clergy members that have stuck in through a few of the days, but really the Faith Summit is really when the members of the faith community come in.
And you participated today, right? You communicated with them today?
Yes.
Okay, what did you tell folks in the faith community who might see somebody come through the door?
Yeah, we are currently walking them in, so we're hosting our conferences right now as we go along. So part of the Faith Summit is talking about child abuse awareness and prevention that may be important in the churches or in the faith community. So we try to tailor this presentation not just to people that are in the multidisciplinary world, so working like CPS law enforcement aspect, but also tailoring it that way it's understandable for clergy. Like, how do you identify these things? So we're going to have several presentations today just addressing that, and we also have a faith-based counselor. She's going to be one of our presenters talking about that, and Mr. Andrew Campbell also talking about his topic, living on a prayer. So how to help and identify these people within the church.
Marianne Alvarez Griffiths, she's with Driscoll Children's Hospital. She's a child abuse pediatrician, part of their child abuse response team. And, so it sounds like care team, right? But it's a pretty weighty name, child abuse response team over at Driscoll Children's. Part of this gathering today is day 3 of a I would call it a continuing education summit for people that are in counseling and medicine and law enforcement dealing with issues related, for example, domestic violence and child abuse. Today is the Faith Summit, and good attendance, again, another year of great attendance. How many, maybe you might not know this, I'm just curious, how many churches or ministers or churches, because a physical place where somebody to go to who needs help, how many do we have in this region where, people can count on, victims can count on to run to in the event of a bad situation?
That is an excellent question. In theory, all of our churches should be safe havens for the people of the community whenever they need help and assistance.
And that is a great point.
Yes.
In theory, they all should be.
Yes.
But even just thinking of even some of the bigger places, very glitzy, shiny rock and roll concert Sunday places that have big congregations, even they're the first ones that come to mind, and they're the last ones that you really are prepared sometimes to deal with somebody who is in bad shape coming through those doors. And there's a message to be sent to everybody tuning in. I'm not chiding those ministries. I'm just reminding the body of an opportunity that is there to respond to this need. So what do you want them to learn? What do we need them to do? What resource do we put in place in order to accept this need?
So us as the body of Christ, we should be able to be welcoming and accepting and to provide assistance to those in need. I know that's a little difficult with current climates that's going on right now, but we should still be able to be prepared to offer the assistance. So my suggestion would be being there for your community, for your congregation, having those open doors. And if you can't, for whatever reason, at least having key members in your congregation that are there and available, some leaders or trustees that are the go-to people from your church that we can say, hey, this person needs help. Okay, you can go to leader so-and-so. But Blue Sunday is a great resource that they have a list of the churches in the area that actually do have active working resources.
Whether it's a smaller congregation, medium size, I would imagine some of them would have a physician or a nurse or a PA sitting there. Those folks who wish, and they probably do volunteer already in the church. Well, this is a branch of ministry that they should really consider and perhaps ask. If they're already volunteering, I don't know, in the choir or shaking hands at the door, and they want something more, because there are a lot of people, my heart wishes that listening to us, either later a recording of this online or on the radio, that my heart wishes that we have many folks who are chomping at the bit in church, in the pews, wanting to do something. And they are in medicine or in counseling or in school counseling. I think they would be perfect to be trained, little by little, be trained through your office and other efforts from CPS and the faith office that they have to get that training, to be able to take in and then work with who? Because obviously when you have a situation like that, you got to call the cops, right? Or call the sheriff's office, or like, what do you do?
Navigate
right?
that? Yeah.
So let's, for real quick, in 2 minutes, try to navigate if we can. It's a medium-sized church. Somebody walks through the door, a victim of domestic violence. She just got away with her life and her kids. And shows up, like what? What do you do then? Like what you call the cops, or what resources do you need to have in place in order to address this issue?
So first would be the conversation with a trusted individual, which hopefully if they're coming to church, you are that trusted person that they're running to for assistance, and gauging what kind of assistance, what would be the best help and support for this person. Because a lot of victims of domestic violence aren't ready to take that next step So calling the cops may actually be more detrimental.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Than good. So we all think, okay, we got to call the cops. We're going to get this person in jail, and we're going to get this person safe. But that's not always the case. It's not always clear cut, especially when victims of abuse have these emotional bonds and ties to their abusers. Then they frequently go back to them. So it makes it even more difficult. So it's first gauging the readiness of the person, of the victim, of the survivor, and then going through the next steps and providing them, excuse me, with resources. If you are ready, we can call law enforcement. This is a shelter that you can go to. This is a safe haven for you and your children, if you have children in the home, to ensure their safety while all of this other legal side is
This
going on.
might be a call, like, for example, and we would need, like, Mujeres Unidas to be multiplied several times, but let's say also like a shelter like that.
Yes.
Maybe it's a call to them to take them in immediately instead of, as you said, scare them away or wash your hands of this and say, here you go, talk to the sheriff's office, and they go, right? It's sometimes maybe you can become a stepping stone toward a shelter, an appropriate, or maybe take them and put them in a hotel or something for a couple of weeks. And okay, slowly, methodically, let's address this issue.
Gauging
takes time and resources, but
gauging what they need right there and then going towards next steps, but being able to have those resources.
What would you recommend that anyone tuning in, volunteer at a church, maybe a deacon, maybe even a pastor on the way to a golf game right now or something like that? If they're saying, you know what, if they're not only hearing this, they're actually listening to it, and they say, yeah, we need to do this. Maybe we do have at our church enough resources, instead of doing the $1 million audiovisual system for next year, maybe we'll set aside for, and we don't need these people on staff, we'll set aside these resources to, I don't know, courageously take the next step forward, register with the state, get all the licenses, get the insurances, all the legal stuff. Let's open up a 5-bed shelter on the campus to take them in, or a budget to shelter these victims as well. Like, who do they contact to get more information on all that they should, all the checklist that they should use to make sure they're doing it right?
So Blue Sunday would be one of the best resources for the faith communities in regards to next step and how they can assist the members of the community. But I believe you could also reach out to Mujeres Unidas to see like what it is that they need. Maybe it's not you building the shelters, but maybe it's you pouring your resources and efforts into organizations that are already doing the work. That way, how you said, we would have to multiply them.
Yeah.
So we can help them multiply them instead of getting the new AV systems.
Yeah.
And so that would be another great way.
All good advice. Anything else you want to share with either lay workers or pastors or folks on salary at a church somewhere that who've been thinking, we need to do this? Like, anything else you want to mention to them?
Just really pray about it, because the need is great, and there's a lot of people in our congregations that are actually struggling with abuse and neglect, victims, like adult victims with domestic violence in the home, or even the children that are getting maltreated. And it's not really the easiest to identify, and it's not really the easiest to talk about within the churches. So have that courage to take that step, to be that trusted person that they can go to whenever they arise with any of these issues, that whenever they want to disclose the issues that they're going through. That way we can provide the resources to the next step to make sure that they're safe.
It's a pleasure speaking and learning from you, Mary. You call anytime, okay?
Yes, sir.
Whether it's this topic or anything else you're doing with the care team over at Driscoll.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by. Mary Ann Alvarez Griffiths, the child abuse pediatrician over at the care team at Driscoll Children's Hospital.
Hi there, my name is Tony Bolstead. My wife and I, Carol, own Sand Monsters. We'd like you to come on out and have fun. We've got a half-mile long track out here. It runs across about 3.5 acres. Have adult cars and kid cars, getting laps in, learning how to drive on the sand. And we also lease space to Redline Helicopters is one of our tenants here, and they've got a pad and they do helicopter tours. Lone Star National Bank and the team there really helped us get this thing put together, answered all our questions, huge help.
I am Stephanie Harrison. I am the second generation owner of Sisters Interiors on South Padre Island. We had always dreamed of owning our own land and owning our own building, using our design team to create what you see here today. That's how we got involved with Lone Star National Bank. We partnered with them and they helped us, create the dream.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. The FAA launches its first flight restrictions, cutting 4% of flights today at the top 40 airports to relieve pressure on understaffed air traffic control towers. Day 38 of the government shutdown. Senate Leader John Thune on the chance of moderate Democrats joining Republicans to reopen the government on today's test vote.
The far left, which is the tail wagging the dog, is bullying the reasonable Democrats out of coming to the table.
As disrupted travelers pile up in the airports every hour, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at Reagan National incensed by the Senate's priorities.
The Senate actually is going home this weekend. As many people here can't get home, the Senate goes home.
United CEO says the shutdown is stressing the economy. The University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index fell to the lowest point since pandemic inflation in June of 22. America's listening to Fox News.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV.
News Talk 710 KURV, the Sergio Show. We're on the road again at South Padre Island, and we're here with folks that are participating in this 22nd annual seminar, Forensic Sciences. We got folks in medicine and law enforcement, and today some folks in the faith community as well. Very weighty issues, as I've said. We've got child abuse and domestic violence and other issues. And we got a great group of folks, another year of success. They've got about almost 200 people, again, folks on the front lines getting all this education. And we're hoping that folks in the faith community, Christian churches, pastors, and volunteers, they also learn more about these needs in the community. Because I know that the body of Christ, the churches, the physical places, and the folks inside can be first line of response and help if we can just dedicate those resources to that. I want to acknowledge the good folks that put this together yearly. Again, this is day 3. Today's a faith-based focus of the seminars. Valley Baptist Health System, Driscoll Children's Hospital, here in the RGV, of course, Blue Sunday Ministries, among the organizations putting this Forensic Sciences 22nd annual seminar. Many participants, including, and I welcome to the program, Lieutenant Greg Rayero, Crimes Against Persons Training Unit over at the Texas Department of Public Safety. How many years you been in law enforcement, Greg?
I've been in law enforcement just about 21 years now, sir.
Okay, all right. This has been part of your professional career for how many years? This specifically, this branch that you're in right
So I've been doing this since 2017 with the Crimes Against Persons Training Unit. Initially was a sergeant over the Crimes Against Children Training Unit, promoted to lieutenant with the Crimes Against Persons Training Unit. Been working in crimes against children or looking for exploited children really since around 2010 when I was a trooper is how I started out on the road.
Was there something that you saw back then? So you know what, I need to go into this field.
So what happened was in 2009, we had a sergeant that recognized that there was a lack of training for frontline officers, meaning our patrol officers, our deputies, park police, game wardens, to recognize the indicators of an at-risk child or an exploited child. And so in 2009, we put together what's called an interdiction for the protection of children. So you may know about interdiction. Generally, we think of it in drug interdiction, weapons, and things like this. But what this program does is it trains frontline officers to recognize the indicators of an at-risk child or those that would offend against a child.
You know, when I think DPS, I think pullovers, pullover situations.
Absolutely.
That's where you recognize, oh, who's in the back seat? What's going on with these kids?
100%.
Right?
Yes, 100%. So we're training frontline officers, whether it be troopers, whether it be deputies, whether it be game wardens, that when they're making a traffic stop, there's a call for service, that they look beyond that initial contact, that reason that they're there, to look for if there's any other nefarious activities. And one of those is crimes against children, exploited children, trafficked children.
Try to keep it as G-rated as best you can. As I ask you this. My guest is Lieutenant Greg Rayero with Texas DPS, and his field of work is crimes against persons, that training unit. He's one of the participants here at South Padre Island. We're at Isla Grande, the hotel, this campus. It's the 22nd annual Forensic Sciences 3-day seminar. Today is very faith-based because they're trying to teach whoever showed up from Christian churches, pastors, lay people. They're trying to help them understand how to address this issue and how to deal with it when it comes to the doors. And you are invited. There will be another one, Lord willing, next year. You should make time to come sit down and participate in this. So try to keep it G-rated or close to. I mean, we're working a family. We're not delivering kids to school right now, but I'm sure you've seen some pretty bad stuff through the years.
Absolutely. Child exploitation is a terrible problem. Fortunately, in the state of Texas, we have a legislator and a governor that's very proactive on that and gives us a lot of support. And so through the years, what we've recognized is, children are vulnerable, and there are individuals that want to take advantage of that. And so our program, and why I'm here and educating these individuals here, is it's a multidisciplinary problem, and it requires a multidisciplinary solution, meaning it doesn't just start and end with law enforcement. It'll start with law enforcement, but we also have to bring in our CACs, Child Advocacy Centers, our forensic nurses, our SANE nurses. They assist in the overall prosecution of these individuals and in getting the resources to the victims. And so our mantra is that in law enforcement, we have to stop waiting for children to ask for our help.
What might a trooper see out in the field during a pullover that would trigger a call to you or colleagues, or let's take this to the next level? We might see
So simply the things that we look for on a basic level are when normal no longer exists, when there's not familiarity in the vehicle between maybe the adults and the children, meaning there's not that closeness, there's not that understanding of personal knowledge of specifics about the child. If me and you were to visit and I talked about your children and what they did, their activities, extracurricular, we would have a common flow. But when there's a stuttering, there's a stammering.
So prying questions, getting to know you, like what's going on, where you come from, you play baseball, things like that.
Yeah, and so when we don't see those, we want them to slow things down and take an IPC perspective. And so really that's what we're looking at, is to stop waiting for children to ask for your help, go beyond those initial contacts, and be proactive in what we do.
Are you based in the RGV?
No, actually I'm out of Austin headquarters.
Okay.
But we take this training. We travel all over the United States. We've traveled all over the world.
Well, the reason I ask is I figured I was going to ask, how many cases develop in a year, like in the Valley, or I guess in Texas for that matter. Let me top of mind.
It's probably larger than we would like to see. I don't want to throw a number on it because it's going to vary from region to region, and I don't have stats right here. But
top of mind statewide, is it like 1,000? Is it 500? Hope it's a lot less than that.
Well, I think it's recognition, meaning you see more when you know what you're looking for. Kind of that thing is. So I'd say that the cases are going to number. With the population, we have 254 counties in the state of Texas. Yeah. You extrapolate that out, the issues are in the hundreds, if not the thousands.
And a population of 30 million people. So, about a minute left, the boy said? Okay, because you got to go speak.
Yes.
Real quick, in a minute. What are you going to tell churches, pastors, anybody who's here? What do you need from them? What do they need to do?
Be vigilant. If you see something, say something. We have programs through the state that if you see something, you become aware of something, you can report it. Through our Fusion Center, you can report it through suspicious activity reporting on our DPS website. And so we ask them, hey, if you see something, go there, report it. It can be done anonymously. If you see something you think a child's being trafficked or exploited, there's resources, and you just go to the Texas Department of Public Safety website, report suspicious activity, and they can be proactive that way.
Lieutenant, thank you for your time
and
much. Success today in the presentation. Greg Rayero, Lieutenant, Crimes Against Persons Training Unit, Texas. Hey, it's Sergio. Join me today, 1 to 3 p.m. to celebrate the grand opening of the new Velvet Magnolia. Fine furnishings, home accessories, and gifts. North McAllen at 7601 North 29th Street. See you there.
Audio streaming on KURV.com. Powered by South Texas Buick GMC, McAllen Mission.
on this special edition of the Sergio Show, as we're focusing on things like kids and CPS foster care, needing the state to come in, and of course, victims of domestic violence, and get some folks in churches, pastors, lay workers, volunteers, get them trained on what to do in the event that they come to the doors at local churches. And we appreciate the fact that we're able to broadcast this today. And I always appreciate the contributions, expertise of a dear friend of many years. I refer to her as Sister Sarah Sagredo Hammond. She's the owner of Atlas AC and refrigeration and plumbing, and of course, through the years, support. But more importantly, it is her tireless advocacy on behalf of mostly women. Yes, I know that there are men who also suffer from domestic violence, and it was through her many months back I found out it's like 1 in 5, 1 in 4 men also. They marry or partner up with a toxica, and boy, she can get all and violent and all that. So anyway, most of the victims are women. Sarah Sagredo Hammond, and I think it's only appropriate, again, that for the business audience tuning in on the special edition of the program, that they hear your experience, and then tell us about your advocacy for the women. So let's start there, Sarah.
Well, I just want to say, first of all and foremost, thank you for allowing Atlas to be a part of the Faith Summit.
Yes.
It's a sacred space. Compassion comes here and meets courage, and faith meets responsibility, right? And like you said, I'm a huge advocate. We have a book. It's called Phoenix Warriors with Angels of Love, where we talk about women who have been battered, and what it takes to get through that. And there's support out there. And for these children that are going through abuse, it's never an easy topic, but their children are meant to be protected. And so having this type of faith summits that you're putting together, Sergio, that you're going out to those spaces and you're bringing that back to the community is truly commendable, not only as a leader and a woman of faith, but also somebody who believes in the power of community. And you're shining in that. And so we're here to support you in any way we can.
I got to say that the good folks at CPS, there is a faith office at CPS, Cornelia Garza, and also Blue Sunday, Kristen Lucky. A lot of folks came together for this. We're just, trust me, we're like so honored to be here, to try to message, try to give a voice. We'll have other experts talking about this and gather this audience, share it again as often as possible. For folks to understand, and look, I've known Sarah for a lot of years, and I was floored to find out that you were a victim of domestic violence. So I'm, hey, look, Sarah's helping out the Angels of Love. Oh, that's wonderful, Sarah. Oh no, she's helping out Angels of Love, which is a ministry that, you know, you're doing the best y'all can. I hope you guys get more resources for shelter, for counseling, for domestic violence victims. But you're there because you have survived this. And share with us as best you can what you would like to share about those dark days, that experience, and now you're here on behalf of the victims.
And there were some scary moments that I went through. Abuse is not something that just happens. It's something that's progressive. No matter who you are, how strong you think you can be, abuse can get to you. Mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. And I didn't stop it. I didn't put up the boundaries far enough, where I ended up I went missing for 2 days. I got kidnapped, taken into Mexico. I had my family praying. I was praying. And by the grace of God, I was released and let go. But I went through a lot during that trauma. And as you know, trauma for anybody it takes a lot of healing, and it takes a lot of faith. And so it's super exciting to be part of a faith summit where they're talking about what it takes to help other children, right, and other people as well. And that Angels of Love Ministry, that book that is out for sale on Amazon, Phoenix Warriors, all those proceeds go back to support Angels of Love to find housing, because a lot of times the victims don't have a place to go, especially with children. So Angels of Love finds that benefit and creates that bridge, just like the Faith Summit and all the churches that are coming together to bring support and shelter for children and families that are in need.
When you were, again, undergoing those dark days, a victim of domestic violence and all that violence that you had endured, I think you told me mercifully, your babies, right? They did not see that, right? They were young enough to maybe overcome that, because that was several years ago. What?
My oldest was 4.
15 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 4. She was 4, and she only saw me on TV as a missing report that I was out there next to my ex-husband at the time. And she said, "Look, mommy's on TV." And they were like, yes, mommy's famous for all the wrong reasons.
Does she remember that? I'm curious. Kids remember the strangest things sometimes.
So there is one incident in that time of my life when I was with that individual where he broke every window in our house, and we have 48 windows. And I told her when she came home and she saw that mess, I told her the termites got the house, right? And so when we were at court and my husband now was adopting her, and we showed pictures of some of the abuse that had gone on and why my husband wanted to adopt her. She saw a photo of broken glass, and she said, "Oh, we had really bad termites," to the judge.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, it's definitely a pest, that's for sure. So, Sarah Sagredo-Hammond, survivor of domestic violence, owner of Atlas AC Refrigeration Plumbing, longtime friend, survivor of domestic violence, and we're so honored to be messaging best we can and catapulting more of this message at this Faith Summit, trying to connect experts in the field when it comes to child abuse and prevention, also domestic violence. Try to get as many people in churches, the faith sector, faith leaders, to know what to do. So let's go there then. So in that situation that you were in years ago, 15 years ago, I guess, if now looking back at what you went through and knowing examples through Angels of Love and your advocacy and work for domestic violence victims, what do you want churches or pastors or volunteers or deacons, priests, what should the faith community do to prepare and meet the needs of victims that come through the door, whether they're abused children or victims of domestic violence? What would you tell them?
One key thing is education, right? I attend a lot of conferences because I need to get educated in a lot of different sectors. And education and abuse and signs to notice that we can become more aware is super important. Aware as teachers, aware as neighbors, aware as pastors, aware as business leaders, even for those that are working for you. Silence doesn't have a place in faith, and silence doesn't protect our systems. So the real question is what can someone else do, or what can I do where I stand? And if we don't become educated on those types of issues, then we won't see the signs, or we're going to be oblivious to them. And so education is key.
Yeah, you just lightly touched on another issue, because you mentioned people that work for you, you work with, right? On another season of the year, we talk about trafficking, human trafficking, where women are brought in, illegal aliens brought in, and they're working all these strange jobs. Eventually, they might get out and go to a gas station or go somewhere, but churches can be the first line of defense, a refuge for them to knock there and be let in at a parish, at a church somewhere. That's also another potential island of salvation for some of these victims. And I don't know what we could do different to, message or put poster stickers somewhere out there at the places that might be frequented by these victims as well. Sarah Sagredo-Hammond, on behalf of Angels of Love, this ministry that is trying to provide education and support services for victims of domestic violence. What is the vision? What is the hope? What are the goals for Angels of Love near future, Sarah? Either fundraising for a shelter or some education workshops, even an outreach to churches and parishes to try to get that education initiative. What's next on the calendar for Angels of Love?
We are doing all of that. There was a grant that was just given to Angels of Love to help make more accommodations and more shelters for more families. And we're also looking into possibly a second book with more victims sharing their stories, because the biggest thing that people need to know is you're not alone. When you stop feeling alone, you stop living in shame. When you stop living in shame, you have courage to speak up and to confront the problem at hand. And it gives you the faith to reflect and to grow and to be strong. And so living in fear and not sharing is allowing somebody else to be in the same predicament. So when you come out of that, it does take courage. It is a very humbling experience, but together we shout out, we're not alone.
The current book that you mentioned, 12 authors, 12 stories, 12 survivors of domestic violence. You want to share maybe one or two of your sisters who participated in this project, maybe give a quick example of their survivor story and their resilient courage, sharing that experience.
Most definitely. Celeste Huff went through some experiences as well when she was very young and married with children, and she suffered a lot. And so did Diane. She went through some really hard times where she had to, choose, and her children were taken from her, and she had to survive and go through some of that. And so as women, we all have different versions of our pain, but it's all pain. And when we come together, we can heal together. And that's where love comes in. And faith is love, right? Because the scriptures say God is love.
When is the next book that you guys might release? It will be the same authors, or do you have other folks participating?
It will be new stories. It will be new stories. And right now we have it out, and we have stories being submitted in and still being in the selection process. So if you're interested and you want to share, please reach out to Angels of Love, share your story with them. And who knows, you may be able to be one of the next authors that contributes to this great organization, Angels of Love.
I hope that word gets around to more churches. And I know that some of them do have a lot of extra resources. I get on the soapbox of the talk show and say, hey, why'd you guys spend $1 million on audio, video? What do you think? Is a rock concert? No, I think you should be taking the $1 million, maybe setting up a shelter for women or for kids that are on the run from violence. Anyway, I'll get off the soapbox on that one, but that's what I usually yell at the top of my lungs. Look, folks, get online at Amazon. They're selling it on Amazon. Phoenix Warriors, Rising from the Ashes of Domestic Violence. These are 12 women, 12 survivors that are part of this ministry called Angels of Love, trying to counsel and provide for the need of victims of domestic violence in this area. The book is called Phoenix Warriors. It's a great stocking stuffer, and you're putting money in the piggy bank for this ministry, Angels of Love, as they continue the fight against domestic violence and try to take care for best they can for some of the victims of domestic violence. And I guess we'll hear about the next book here pretty soon, but go get it at Amazon, Phoenix Warriors, Rising from the Ashes of Domestic Violence. Anything else you want to share, Sarah, before I let you go?
There was saying that sticks in my head that says, faith without protection is only belief. Faith with action is true love. And so become active, become activated, and get educated. And I want to just say thank you to KURV and to you, the Sergio Show, for always looking out to our community and bringing that advocacy back to us so that we can get that education. It means everything. And for those who can support, like Atlas did today, for those who can support programs like this, please reach out to KURV and grant them that support so we can get more advocacy for our community, because education starts within ourselves.
God bless you, Sarah. The Lord is providing and always will. We have faith that faith without works is dead, people. So you're tuning in right now and you got this itch, this comezón. You got to do something more. Here it is, my friends. Here it is. Try to use your ministry as a shelter, maybe for victims of domestic violence. So look into that. Sarah, bless you, my friend. We'll talk soon. And thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
From Atlas, AC, refrigeration, and plumbing, and more importantly, of course, Angels of Love, the ministry that she is helping victims of domestic violence, Sarah Sagredo Hammond. Bless you, sister. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
A world of news, information.